One of the paths to helping your clients get what they want and you getting what you want is making sure we're getting as many clients as possible from the people who become leads. And the way we do that is by building what we call the new client attraction follow-up system. Most law firms don't need more leads to grow. Giving more leads would be a sin because they're not converting the leads they already have. The number one reason why law firms don't convert the leads that they should be is because they don't have a lead conversion system and automation to manage their follow-up. Welcome to this week's Your Practice Mastered podcast. My name is Richard James, and today we're going to focus on converting the unconverted lead. That's right, generating more clients without spending another nickel in advertising and marketing. We're going to be able to do more with what you already have. One of the things that I did first when I entered into the world of law was fixing follow-up. I'd recognized that law firms simply don't follow up. Now, I used to have something that was taught to me by my mentor years ago, which was follow up until they die, buy, or unsubscribe. And for many lawyers, they don't want to be thought as a marketer or as a sales team. I get it. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a basic form of follow-up. And so when I built the firm in Phoenix, we built it from scratch. Literally, I was on this side of the desk, the managing partner was on that side of the desk. So he did all of the legal work or the things that a bar card required, and we stripped all the things off of him that a bar card didn't require, and we had somebody else do it. One of the first things that I did was I built out an automated follow-up system. Now, back then, I used something called CRM. It's Customer Relationship Management Tool. I built out this platform to make sure I followed up with everybody until they died, bought, or unsubscribed. We made sure we were going to follow up with every single lead, every single time, forever, until they told us to stop, or they decided to hire us, or they fell off the planet somehow. Over 60% of the people that decided to retain the firm originally said no, which means if I didn't have a system to follow up with our non-buying prospects, we would have done roughly 60% less than the $3.5 million annually in gross sales that we did because we didn't have that system. We generated 60% of our gross sales from people who originally said no. No, I don't want to set an appointment. No, I don't want to retain the firm at that initial consultation. No, I don't want to pay my bill on time. So whether you're just starting or you've been going for a while and you're trying to figure out how to build your automation system, I'm going to lay out the features for you right now. So it says, if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. So what your clients want is help with their legal issues, and what you want is revenue so that you can build and grow your firm. And so there's an equal exchange there. Matter of fact, your clients are getting the better end of the deal. You're usually saving them a whole bunch of either money or time or life issues based on the practice area that you have. Now, on the left, I show kind of all the things that your clients want: freedom and results and hope and caring and judgment-free zone and courtesy. And what you want is money and compliance, and you want their attention, and you want courtesy, and you want your happy staff, and you want scalability. You want all these things. Hey, if you want to learn more about building your new client attraction pipeline or any of the pipelines in your firm, go to thelawfirmsecret.com, visit us there, join our community. We give free resources all the time. And if you have questions about this, you want to comment down below, by all means, please do. Most law firms, when I start asking about leads, they say, oh, let me see how many appointments I have on the calendar. And I say, what about the people who don't set appointments? And they say, oh, we don't track them. And I say, why? Well, if they don't set an appointment, we don't keep track of them. Well, there's problem number one. So we have to track every single piece of information about every single lead every single time, and we have to identify the qualified leads from the non-qualified leads, because if you're doing any type of advertising, you're going to get some non-qualified leads. So right there, you've got this non-qualified, and if they go into this non-qualified list, then you can decide what you want to do with them. And then there are two basic options. They set an appointment, they don't set an appointment. If they do set an appointment, we want to send a reminder sequence. If they don't set, we're going to start what's called a follow-up sequence. So this is a no-set follow-up sequence, which basically says the same thing, except this language is going to talk about the fact, instead of saying why they set and why they should show, this appointment is going to talk about why they should set an appointment, even though they chose not to set it the first time. So we want to make sure we have as many ways to follow up with them as possible. And so the moment you build this, you go, okay, if they're non-qualified, then they go on a non-qualified list. If they set an appointment, we trigger the reminder sequence. If they are no set, we set the follow-up sequence. Great. Now, After they set, we want to make sure that they show. And if they don't show the appointment, we want to trigger a follow-up sequence that talks to them using this formula, but using language about no-shows, about why they didn't show and why it's important that they should show. And if they do show, we want to make sure we have reminder sequences around this conversation to make sure we get them higher. And then if they no hire, we're going to trigger follow-up sequences that talk to them about why they didn't hire and convincing them to come back to the next follow-up appointment we have to get them to retain the firm. Fundamentally, we have this if-then scenario that makes up your unconverted lead follow-up system. And most very simple CRMs can manage this. To be clear, most practice management software, to name a few like Practice Panther and Time Matters and Clio, like they have some tools, but they're not built as a CRM to manage and automate communication to prospects. They're built for matter management, right? And so they don't have really great reporting capabilities because all this is really what we call the PCLC, Perfect Client Lifecycle, PCLC, leads, sets, shows, hires. That's really what we're looking at here in the PCLC. And we're looking at the conversions from leads to sets, sets to shows, shows to hires. And when we get this right and we maximize conversions, we maximize income. And when we run the reports, what we can find is that a lot of the people that retain the firm originally said no. But because I had a follow-up sequence for every one of those, I now get those people to come back in. And so if you have 100 leads that come in that are qualified, if you're not maximizing conversions all the way through, one of the reasons is because you don't have a follow-up sequence that can manage this for you, right? And so when you go through this, we go right from hire to onboarding, which is really, really important, and that triggers the workflow process. What's important for you to know, and this is a little secret behind the curtain look, is that the exact same process and measurement and formula we use to manage the new client attraction program, we use that exact concept to manage workflow. So in workflow, you have different stages. You have different things that need to be done. And in every case, we've got clients that have to interact with you. And if they miss the deadline or the team makes the deadline, we have follow-up sequences that can be triggered to remind clients why they have to stay on plan. Number one problem for workflow is the same problem we have with follow-up sequences to get clients to retain, is that your clients don't behave well, right? Right. And so the way you get your clients to behave well is make sure we measure your workflow process the exact same way we measure your new client attraction process. Now, if you do all this right, you get something what I like to call profit. And what profit allows your firm to do is certainly you get to make more money, but allows you to grow, it allows you to pay your team a market-based wage, and it allows you to accomplish your goals. Now, we tie all this together, and I want to share with you real quick, once you start thinking about building this out, so this is the basics, right? You have to think about, okay, what is your lead capture and data integrity? How are you capturing leads? What questions are you asking? What's your appointment setter workflow? What's your pipeline that you're going to be working and managing throughout this process? What are your appointment reminders going to look like? What is your nurture campaign going to look like in your no sets, no shows, no buys? You have to pay attention to working the numbers backwards. What kind of AI and smart enhancements are you going to add in so you can make things work even better? Look, there's 31 items on here. The first 5 or 6 are really the most important. First of all, this is gratis of Andres Mer. So he is a captain in our world, which means he is a team member that has really learned that he gets by giving, and he gave this to me to look at, and I have the permission to share it. And so I'm sharing this kind of advanced plan with you. You have to understand the basic framework of how to build this out from the if-then scenario. And then inside of that, you've got to ask yourself a whole bunch of questions to be able to build it out properly, which is why you may not be able to do this yourself, and you probably shouldn't do this yourself. You should probably hire a company to help you do this. And so whatever CRM you use, they usually have companies that will help you do that. I want you to know if you're not converting all of your leads, it's because you don't have a system to follow up with those leads until they buy, die, or unsubscribe. Hey, if you want to learn more about building your new client attraction pipeline or any of the pipelines in your firm, go to thelawfirmsecret.com, visit us there, join our community. We give free resources all the time. And if you have questions about this, you want to comment down below, by all means, please do. I'm excited for you to be able to build your practice one follow-up sequence at a time. Till next time,